Welcome back to the Aquarius Samples video series. My name is Dave Gilby. In this video, we'll look at how to centrally monitor the status of your lab requests, reports, and results. I'll show you how to track which bottles are recorded when, where, and by whom, and which analysis was requested. With Aquarius Samples, it's easier to centrally monitor all requested and received lab analysis work, to better manage outstanding lab results and quickly see the status of your ongoing sampling projects.
Let's take a look at lab data. So we've talked about field data, and we've talked a little bit about how those field trips and field visits can be planned, and how that data can be queued up for people to enter data in the field and manage that data once you come back. Let's take a look at some of the lab data items. So in lab data, we can actually look at each one of those individual bottles. And in fact, once I clear this out, we have many ways to search for those individual specimens. We can search by the specimen name, the specimen status, the specimen location, maybe a specimen analytical group. Maybe you're just interested in the metal samples that are still outstanding, and even samples specifically from one laboratory. So let's take a look at laboratory first and look at all the specimens that are still in the system from a laboratory in Vancouver. And you can see with that status, we get a name of the bottle, we get a sampling date and time, the location, the test, but we also get the number of results received. So we've requested 5, we've received 0. You'll notice down at the bottom here, we've requested 1 and received 1. This is a great way for users to summarize their data collection and their outstanding samples from a laboratory. This is a very common task for most environmental data that's being sent to an entity from a laboratory, to look up the status and find out where are my samples and when can I expect them. We can define this data by specific site. If I'm interested in outstanding samples from a specific site, again, we could look at the specimen status. Let's look at the ones that have just been requested from the laboratory. You'll notice we have 5 bottles with data that's still outstanding from this site. All right, furthermore, we can look up lab reports. This is also a common example of things that are searched for in a discrete data management system. Now, this is all driven by the organizational information that you put in your system based on the laboratories that you use. So if I'm going to use a ALS laboratory in Melbourne, I can put that organizational information in and see a list of the lab reports that I need. I can continue to filter the lab reports by looking for specific items in the names, for instance, BRA. And as I type that in, I can filter down my results. Very handy. Let's talk about shipping containers a little bit. Now, these shipping containers can be added at will, and you can give an identification number to each and a tracking identification number. Sometimes chain of custody procedures or security on projects requires that official chain of custody and possession be tracked for each set of samples in a shipping container. This allows you to attach what bottles were in what coolers, and furthermore, if you have issues with contamination of your samples, sometimes tracking that data back to what coolers those samples were in can provide quite a bit of insight of where there were potentially contamination issues. As we spoke of before, we can talk about laboratories, and the information from the laboratories is all entered here. This is standard information about the organization itself, including an ID, an address, point of contact, phone numbers, any descriptions, and again, any change history that may have happened with those laboratory details. Your point of contact may have changed in the past, and you may want to know that.
That concludes our demonstration of how to use Aquarius samples to manage lab requests, reports, and results. You're invited to watch our next video on how to import and centralize all the data of your environmental monitoring program. Or book a consultation with one of our experts today to learn more about Aquarius samples. Thanks for watching.